This video contains content sponsored by John Wilson Blades and MK Blades. Opinions discussed in this video do not reflect the views of John Wilson or MK.
Hello and welcome to the Canadian Tire This and That, or as we call it, law-watching skating in her basement, with our dear friend Jonathan Byer. Jonathan, welcome back to the skating lesson. It's been approximately 45 seconds since you were last on the show.
I like that we have like our patriotic shirt colors on too. It's very nice.
Oh,
Yeah.
Michael Shanley was watching Canadians. He's like, why is there so much red? And I'm like, it's their
It's
flag.
a bit overkill. I mean, I get that it's the flag, but the red was a little distracting at times from the skating. But
He also said, I recognize the woman's voice, but who is that annoying commentator? And why is he always...
He's not incorrect.
He's like, they say everyone is the best thing ever in Canada. I'm like, that's...
Also, this particular rink was fascinating to me because it had like a strange drop ceiling on the side.
Yes! So it was like longer in parts and then shorter. Yeah. I wanted to go, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame they always seem to go at the same time because I think people
would
actually...
Have you started writing music for skaters and composing it?
They can't afford it. Just saying. Also, the other interesting thing about...
Did you see that fluff on Weaver and Poje loving New York City? I was like, this is the most Canadian thing I have ever seen.
But they also had the fluff about, like, the bromance or whatever between Patrick and Eric and him writing the music for him and all that. They had some pretty fun fluff pieces up there.
They're very different than American fluff pieces.
Very different.
They're very Canadian. It's, like, written by P.J. Kwong. You know, like, it's all...
And I'm so intrigued. So we talked about how Japanese nationals had the icon in the corner where they were giving you specific +2s, +3s, whatever. And then NBC has that, like, color square thing that I don't
see, and the colors and the traffic all the time. Yes.
That's really, you know what Canada had? Nothing. Not
they
even
got nothing. All right.
They didn't even put like the current leader and versus what they're racking up.
Well, did you see some of the skating at Canadians? They didn't need the red. Okay, they had enough on the rink.
Same thing in the United States.
I know. Oh, it was so true. Oh yeah. Man, the ladies competition in the U.S. Angela Wang, we love you all the time, and then you...
I miss Paulina. Paulina just should have come in and won. But we're talking about Canada, darn it.
We are. Blame Canada. Blame Canada. All right. No. All right. So, Canadian Nationals. The Canadian Tire Figure Skating Championships.
Correct.
One of my favorite events of the year. Because the ladies event, it's just so wonderful in Canada because it just like warms you from the inside out. You know, everyone is wonderful. We can fall twice. And in the U.S., we'd be bawling. In Canada, we are beaming and winning our third national title.
Correct.
And I like Caitlin Osmond. Not as much as Rod Black, but I do like Caitlin Osmond.
Okay. Well, they were talking about, like, isn't it crazy that any three of these women can win this title? And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, Caitlin's got this by about, like, 90 to 100 point lead. Like...
So I often am confused by the logic in Canadian comments to begin with. I often feel like, am I hungover? And I'm like, wait, I don't drink anymore. Never mind. So...
Yeah, they were intriguing because to me, I mean, Caitlin was a shoo-in. Her short program was outstanding.
Does she remind you of a Tanya in some ways when she jumps sometimes? She has those...
A little bit, but Tanya never could tack on that second triple in that combo. She always did a triple toe, double toe. But...
Except for 91, as the Schumans would tell you. They're Tanya defenders through and through.
Always. I am too a little bit. But she gets that nice arc. It's just a totally different kind of jumper. And it's so much... It's so nice to see. But again, she's having trouble, again, doing the full long. It never really is working out for her.
Again, it's the jumps and she adjusts in the air, and then she's always tilted back, and that's something they're really going to need to. Listen, Frank Carroll has an opening. Caitlin's worked with him a little bit before. She's very successful, and as long as she doesn't have a lot of drama, maybe Frank will take on another lady. He just needs someone low-key. You know, she and Jason can work together.
Right?
Oh, wait, I don't think we're supposed to suggest that because Frank is still like a mentor, but I was of the U.S. skaters, but I was saying he loves to teach. Throw her in. I'm all for great skating, so.
Exactly. And the short is much more successful, in my opinion, than the long. I think it's a better fit for her. So I wonder if they'll aim for that kind of style for next season.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how she's going to stack up against the American ladies at Four Continents.
Yeah, do you think that will be telling about Worlds or
yes? Because Caitlin's been having a very strong season, and
I think so too.
She's in the cannot be ignored category at this point. Yeah. So she's had a great season. She's got a lot of great qualities. She's got speed. She's got power. She's got good edges. She can be rough around those edges, but especially with the landings and the jumps. But to me, she's so knocking on the door of being a great skater. She is so almost there. It is so close to being a truly great great in the world skater. Like real great. Not like great, you're great. No, like great skater. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the energy she exudes in her performances is real. It's tangible. Like she has definitely star quality, I think.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I believe that we have no shot against Canada at the team event next year.
Oh my gosh, no way.
I think Megan Duhamel is going to be very happy when I say this. Yeah, she's going to be like texting.
No, it's a very well-rounded team.
Yes.
That way. Yeah.
We would like to have their team. They can throw shade at us and look. Yes.
And we'll have to take it. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know who we're going to put up in some of these disciplines in the U.S. I mean, we've got Nathan, Jonathan, okay?
We'll always have Nathan. Yeah, okay.
Let's go to Gabby Daleman, Queen of the Rosano. What?
Yeah. And truly is the queen of that Rosano.
Yes.
Because, I mean, in both programs, it was very solid.
Like chocolate, as Mariah said.
An unfortunate analogy. But I liked her Rhapsody in Blue program.
Yes.
She had a bit of a see-through skirt situation going on that made me uncomfortable. But she kind of has a nice disposition about her, like when they were about to call Chartrand's scores. Mm-hmm. Maybe she was giddy because she knew what they were going to be. But she was like kind of singing along with the warm-up music and goofing around with Brian Orth.
That's a little Kirsten Moore Towers back when she was winning medals, silver medals, yeah.
But it was it was lovely to see. And maybe it was even a little fake to like get herself comfy and but I enjoyed her performance. I don't think she's in any danger of being a high finish at Worlds, but I think she'll do okay.
She's a firecracker, you can tell.
Yeah.
It's her reputation that she's a strong personality, and I think she's their Diva Wagner in Canada. I think that Gabby is a real pistol.
But she has the Lori program. I mean, she is trying that refinement.
That Lori program, the one that's Michelle's old music, is just not it for me. But the Rhapsody in Blue is more her. So
yeah, it works. And she even starts with the little finger, like she's playing the clarinet riff at the beginning.
The thing with Rhapsody in Blue is you have to skate big. Because it was skated at American Nationals, and I was saying this is usually done by a man or a pair team because it takes really big
and grand
skating, and she has the speed, so it's not a mismatch.
Yeah, I've not seen her skate live, but she seems to be flying.
Jonathan, she's got some attack. She's like your girl from Portland. You know, she's yes.
But she didn't call in any excuses at her sectionals, so she's okay.
How about the Gracie Gold of Canada, Alaine Chartrand? What is your take?
Do you think her potential is that big?
They just remind me of each other with the blonde hair and the ups and downs and the movie star look and
Jimmy Chartrand will always be remembered for the brilliant camera work at that Cup of Russia or Rostelecom Cup
Cup, the one. Yes, I remember it so well.
They'd go to the audience cringing.
It was the greatest final group of a Grand Prix of all time. Okay.
Go down in the loop and you see a woman being like. Yeah, the shocked faces. And unfortunately, it's something there's an off-putting quality to her presentation. Mm-hmm. And there's often been strange body language in the kiss and cry. I do not know her personally. This is solely speculation. But there's something...
You are best friends with someone who was just fired from SNL for a tweet, so...
That's right. Oh, gosh. They're going to come after me. But... I just think there's a wall there that doesn't let me root for her.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
I see that.
The programs they don't do it for me. She was all about that triple axel for a while. I don't understand.
I thought it was strange that she did a tour in December. I thought that we learned from Nicole Bobeck and Todd Eldridge that we don't do that before nationals.
Correct. And she probably didn't make what they made.
Yeah, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. And
yeah, exactly.
look.
So and they only send the 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's sitting at home.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, to me, there was a big difference between first and second, and a bigger difference between second and third.
Yeah.
So.
Unfortunate. Yeah. But and all the other, well, let's go for that. Let's work our way up. Let's start with the men's event. I have to tell you, I know you're going to disagree with me.
I'm excited.
The Patrick Chan Long program is really growing on me, Jonathan. And I know that...
I understand. I thought you were going to say something crazy, like you liked Kevin Reynolds' haircut or something.
No, I am into the Patrick Chan free skate. When he does the cross steps, it's like dun, 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 dun. And then when he's like pushing with his toe picks forward, I'm like, this is David Wilson genius. This is...
I get it. No. I get it. I think it's... I find the short program more masterful, but he didn't do the short program.
Well, of course, he picked music that we can never see on YouTube. And, you know, sometimes when you fall and you miss 3 jumping passes, we're not just... It's not one that we're going to go to Daily Motion for.
The magic is gone. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But the long program here, I really was taken in by...
When you use the excuse that you're just getting used to skating last, you've been skating for 27,000 years. And yes, he's talking... Yes.
No, didn't.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's terrible. Come on now. That's
how many Grand Prix did this queen skate?
Yeah, come on. No. Get it together.
How many things did Patrick skate to when he is number 1? Come on. You skate by world ranking, and then he skated this short. And he's saying that it's because he's older and he thinks more.
No.
Boot problems, as Ty said in the first episode of TSL. That, I was like, Patrick.
Get it together.
Get a better storyline. We are not the Canadian press.
Exactly. We don't believe you. The South, I mean, so now this is 2 in a row.
It was stunning.
Yeah.
The free skate, if he did one more quad toe, I mean, that would have really, been one of the programs of his career. Yeah.
It still looked much more secure.
Yes.
It was a very
to love what he's doing. Okay, that is the key.
Yeah, I thought it looked really outstanding. The jumps were big and beautiful. I thought it was nice to see him skate the long so well, because we had seen good shorts, but I
love the long. I like the long better than the short. There, I said it.
Okay.
Yes.
There, it's out. I
love the choreography. I love everything about it. I am all for it. Okay.
I mean, there's no denying, I do believe he is still the best skater in skating of the world. You know what I mean?
But he has to do 2 programs, and we haven't seen that in some time. So
right. So who? I'm sure this just makes me an idiot. Who was sitting with him in the kiss and cry?
That's Oleg Epstein.
Okay. Because I mean, obviously, I don't know what kind of console Marina is providing for him at a competition anyway. But
Oleg Epstein is the choreographer noted that was responsible for the Evan Lysacek Grease program.
That's why they let him come to Canada.
He is one of Marina's assistants of something, not choreography. So he helps with the jumps.
But not a technical specialist either. So he doesn't have that technical...
I think he does work somewhat on jumps with the teams, but I know that they have a lot of people who, tinker. But yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He is part of... Look, it's working with Patrick this season. Let's just not...
Yeah.
Let's not fix it.
Even though they're not 2 clean programs yet, the consistent level is higher than it's been.
Yeah, it's better than it's been. He looks far more trained than he ever did last season. Yeah. I think he's a threat for the World Championships for sure.
Okay.
I mean, in terms of programs, I like this one better than Javi's Elvis program, but Javi could sell the hell out of anything. I mean, he could sell ice to an Eskimo. I mean, he could. I mean, it's
an Inuit. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But because I think top 5 at Worlds is kind of that cluster when you were talking about clusters, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think he's absolutely in that mix.
Yeah.
Certainly give them all the points they can.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, everything looked great, in this, except for the short program, everything looked great. But the judges didn't mind it in Canada, so they didn't mind it in the U.S. Senior pairs free either, as we've gotten tweets. But yes, it was. Osmond's 138 was like chocolate as well.
We just have to go by ordinals, or like rankings.
But you know,
are so silly.
any of these three girls can win this national title, as Rod Black would tell us.
I was like, really? Okay.
Where did they find him? Because Tracy's far more flag waving on Canadian television than she is.
In a kind way. I mean, I enjoy her. She has a weird way of pronouncing things and names, but she's definitely, with a compliment, she's also able to give a positive but constructive criticism.
Yes.
You know?
I like Tracy. She's a pro. Yeah. So it just comes across far more flat when you have Rod, who is so impressed by everyone.
And he'll say wow after someone puts a hand down. Like,
and I'm sure Megan Duhamel loves him because he is always very positive about the skaters. So
that's right. It's important. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
It's important.
Built national encouragement.
Yeah, so. Very. Look, we don't do that in the U.S. Johnny is.
He's out for blood.
He's out for, as is Tara. Although Tara looked like heaven in that dress in the.
Nice one. Oh, you mean aesthetically?
I thought that her dress in the ladies' free skate was like Jeff Billings glam. I was like, Tara.
Oh. No, for me it was all about Tara Gannon's Salt and Gray.
He always looks good. I don't like any of Johnny Weir's outfits. I think one looks worse than the next. So
they're insisting upon themselves. But
yes, we just needed to get that in there. You know, I mean, the Canadians have seen it. They're watching our nationals. Megan Duhamel was actually watching U.S. nationals, the pairs, and texting me as.
Supportive of Deanna. I thought that was so sweet of her.
As she's foam rolling before she goes out to compete in Canada, she's watching American nationals on her phone. I thought that was very encouraging and supportive.
She loves skating. She loves sport. She just doesn't do it. She loves it. Yeah.
Yes, she loves
like that with her.
Yeah. So let's move forward. The other, Kevin Reynolds and Nam Nguyen. What did Alexa want us to say that one time? Sucks for them, moving on. Although Kevin Reynolds did really do some good jumps in the free skate, and Nam had some moments as well, but overall, it was interesting. There was a big difference in PCS between Nam and Kevin, and I don't know necessarily that I see a big difference in PCS between Nam and Kevin, or should I? Should I see a bigger difference than I do? I haven't seen Kevin skate live in a little while that I can remember, but the last time I saw Nam, he skates smaller, the body language is smaller, and it hasn't grown up yet the way Nathan has. It's not the same. Yeah, Nam should necessarily be higher. I just didn't know that Kevin was so above and beyond what Nam was. You never want to have a squirrely quality or be a little engine that could, and sometimes Nam looks like that. Kevin, I think, has a little more upper body projection. Okay. And I think that reads well, especially in performance execution and some of the choreography, but in terms of like speed and skating skills, I don't see a huge difference. Although Kevin sometimes looks a little cleaner, but yeah. Okay. Yeah, the jumps seemed a little more reliable from Kevin for sure, and Kevin is that body type. When we were talking about the Boyan and the Nathan, this very lilt kind of thing that seems to be helpful in the rotation. Being thin helps these days in the quads. It's more than thin. It's actually like the hips themselves are almost. You need narrow hips. I've got wide Polish hips, girl. They are not getting me that quad lots. Okay. Birthing hips. Okay. Yes. Yeah, and I was. Oh, and then the quad loop. Yeah. We saw a quad loop at Canadian Nationals. That was pretty mind blowing. I didn't expect to see that. Listen, Javi's going to do that quad loop soon to keep up with these boys. I'm telling you, he has to compete it now. I mean, I think that what we saw at Canadian Nationals with the quad loop and with Patrick doing the quad sow, the sport is being pushed forward so quickly at such a rapid rate that what we're going to see at the next Olympics is mind-blowing and terrifying at the same time because it could be another crash and burn situation. With some of these quads. We just happen to have a couple of outrageously gifted ones that can do that and make it look good. We've already surpassed the people we thought were the quad kings. Yes. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. So it's going to be really interesting. I'm personally very curious about the dance competition coming up because the level of ice dance is really raising it up a notch. Coming in, I was really curious to see the showdown between Gilles and Poirier and Weaver and Poje, because sorry, I cut you off. I feel as passionately about this potential move as I do about the Hubble and Donahue Chalk and Bates move. What is your opinion? Parallel. I so much prefer
Piper and Paul.
Really?
I think Weaver and Poje, like, during that Olympic season, I really enjoyed their program, and they've been lost and this kind of thing. And I understand they needed to make a bold move. And in my opinion, it was the worst thing they could have done. Tracy Wilson was like, I think they've never been better. And I was like, Tracy, I need you to turn off your mic because you're wrong.
I think in the free dance, it looks better.
Really?
There's an element of there's a section in the short dance that's a cringe to me. And I'm almost afraid to say it because they did it in the I Love New York thing. But I saw Nikolai's daughter do it better. To me, one of them in the pair looks really awkward when they do the Michael Jackson thing.
Yeah. They're trying.
I couldn't do it. And to me, it, like, neither one's that funky. So when they have that moment, you know, when they're like standing and they do.
Oh, I know, yeah.
Yeah.
She has what looks like a bedazzled hearing aid. And he always looks like a handsome villain from like a romantic.
He is performing far better than he ever did. And I think that they do have more speed in the free. I don't love that cut of Aranjuez, though. I don't love it. And I also preferred the old ending to the program. Her cradling him doesn't do it for me. Her new dress is heaven. I mean, heaven.
I like them, and I think that they're not without talent. I just think the packaging and programs is like a total miss.
I never like in the Twizzles, their second set to me, they always look like awkward stick figures when they have to do the bent leg twizzle. And to me, it looks really jarring every time, no matter who their coach is.
I was ready for a shift of powers, and the judges put Piper and Paul ahead on PCS, only slightly, but in both programs.
It was technical that won it for Weaver and Poje. Yeah.
And it was close, but I really see Weaver and Poje, I understand. I think they're talented skaters. They took a risk. They tried something totally different. I think it's a huge miss, and I think they took themselves out of the game. I really do.
They didn't really have so they wanted to leave. The truth is that Caroline told them that they could come, but I believe that Piper and Paul would be the focus. Certain skaters in Marina's camp didn't want them to come, so she turned them down. They didn't, I believe, Igor, Marie France had too many teams.
Right.
They didn't have a lot of options when they wanted to make a change. It's shocking that a team that won 2 Grand Prix finals was in a situation where they didn't have like options in this situation.
It's discipline unlike any others because the depth is so great.
Yeah.
And it does become problematic. And I understood their reasoning. Nikolai's out of left field. It could have been almost the way to do it, is to just go completely out and see if they could make a mark that way.
I think that what he gives them next season is going to say a lot, because I feel like they've experimented with this team. I think that one program works more than the other. At least they have a freshness. We're at least looking at them again, because I wasn't even looking at them last year. I thought this Bitter Earth was the worst in the history of ever. I thought
because they have it's not a limitation on their talent, because it was just weird choices.
It's a weird choice, and I thought it was trying way too hard in the wrong way, and just not. It just was so wrong to me, and all the And I thought that their free dance at the Olympic season was right in so many ways.
I thought it was tremendous. They so interested me that season, and it just never quite.
The 4 seasons was vanilla for me. And this Bitter Earth was
a miss. But this is, to me, a miss in a more tacky, offensive way. I don't know why.
The short or the free?
Yes. I don't.
What about the free? I think the free is lovely. I think.
Really? I don't know. It's just it is an improvement on.
I think that the cut of Aranjuez is dated.
I don't think it. I don't see it putting them back in the top 6. I don't.
I think because of the short, it's going to be hard for them to contend with the Shibutanis, but I hate that Frank Sinatra Jay-Z mashup.
Yeah, but the judges are too chicken to I think.
I think both of these Canadian teams could really shake things up with the U.S. teams.
Really? Okay.
If, depending on how they all skate, they weren't scored that differently, so it's really hard to know. Piper and Paul have been really consistent, so
much more interesting to me.
Yeah. Well,
I would rather rewatch one of their programs before I rewatch a Weaver and Poje program.
I definitely prefer Piper and Paul's short dance to Weaver and Poje's.
Okay, remember when you're talking about like Halloween costumes and he does kind of look like he's wearing a Halloween
It is a Halloween costume choreography, but it works. You know what?
It's great!
They're shticky Look, they're always shticky. Last year they had neon glow costumes and she had henna on the arms, but it works for them. Yes, they are a gimmicky team. They do have limitations in terms of sometimes the line, but they do have speed and clean edges and
what I also
they're crowd appealing. Because they perform. She especially is a firecracker. He can look stiff sometimes, although he's got a gorgeous line to him. Yeah.
He has those big bell bottoms, and it makes me think that I'm watching like one of those worlds with like Charlie Tickner, Robin Cousins, and like Hoffman, because they're like the exact pants you used to see everyone skate in. Yes. So I'm like, oh, it's like back in
one
the
of the worlds that Frank probably watches on YouTube, and he was like, remember when, you know.
For the record, I was not alive then, but I have YouTube those videos. Sure. But I also love their tango because here's the thing. Everyone's doing a flippin' tango, but something about theirs is so much more authentic and not generically skating cheesy tango. It's totally a different take on a tango that seems so much more steeped in authenticity and actual movement from the dance versus like our typical skating version of tango, right?
I could see that. Yeah,
it's much more interesting. They're just provide more interest for me right now than Weaver and Poje. That's just me.
Interesting. Okay, all right. I mean, I like the Weaver and Poje Aranjuez. I do.
Yeah.
I don't like the Michael Jackson. There, I said it.
I don't think the judges do either. Quite frankly, and Canadians, you see this altering too. If he had not made a mistake on the twizzle, you know, maybe the placements would have switched.
And when you know that Piper had food poisoning this week or something, she was sick.
She wasn't even on the first practices, yeah.
And everyone was like, "Who touched her drink?" At U.S. Nationals, there was like people were laughing and speculating, not in a mean way. People before, no, it was facetious and it was. Yeah. You know how they said, you know, there was always that thing in skating, don't leave your skate bag unattended, because in the old days, people used to damage each other's blades. Urban legends.
That's right.
Like that urban legend that Dorothy Hamill was or wasn't.
With the voodoo doll?
No, well, that, but also that she was chased down in the car by one of her competitors' relatives.
Well, that's right. That's right.
We're not going to name things. Priscilla will ask us in the tweets, being like, Dave, who was that? As if I'm going to answer that. Yes. But yeah.
It rhymes with. No, I'm just kidding.
Read books. Yeah. So as we go. So let's.
Oh, and obviously, Virtue and Moir were wonderful.
Listen.
And Marie France.
What did you think of Marie France's outfit? I mean, she looked stunning in the Kiss and Cry.
She can do no wrong right now for me. She can do no wrong. She looks good.
This program, even the latch part, even worked for me here. I thought they were just amazing.
It's virtuosic skating, no question.
I think they're at such a level right now that is just so strong, and they have such knee bend and performance. And after watching the Shibutanis at U.S. Nationals in person, I was like, oh my God, this is ice dance. This is glorious, glorious, glorious skating. I felt like I was Tarasova watching them. I was like, I am just in love with you. I'm in love with the French as well, but I'm like, oh, this is all of the right notes.
There's an energy to it that's totally different. This time in the beginning of the Prince program, when he does this like shimmy to the side or whatever, it was a little more awkward than it has been in the past. It's not my favorite move, but I understand and appreciate it.
Tell Marie France to work on that, yes.
Yeah, let me just send her a quick text. But I think that they're on fire. And people talked about, oh, poor Caitlin Weaver, that they came back. And I was like, what is this? I want the best people in each discipline.
I want the best people too.
Yeah. And they're doing better than they ever did. It's not even like a watered down comeback. So,
but now Tracy Wilson now spun it that they're all going to make each other better. So she put the Canadian spin on it. So
whatever, Tracy.
Once
I
they
hope
found
for-
out that Weaver and Poje had a really rough year once they found out that Tessa and Scott were coming back. Like, it got in their heads, like that, yeah. But
I mean,
Tessa and Scott coming back, I really feel...
There were 5 other teams that also kept him out of the Grand Prix finals, not just Tessa and Scott,
So I really feel that Tessa and Scott are a team that deserve 2 Olympic titles to really, like, cement what they've meant to skating. And I think that I would feel good about them having a second Olympic title. I would really feel strongly.
2 golds, 2 silvers, maybe 3 golds if they do the team, right?
Yes.
Team event.
If they do the team event and don't mess up the lift this time, yes, it will be all sorts of wonderfulness. Yes.
Can we do a tangent even though we're in Canada?
Of course we can do tons of tangents.
The Caitlin Jean-Luc lift problem.
Yes.
Whose fault was that? In your opinion? I couldn't tell if he lost his footing because he lost his own edge or if he lost his footing because she was balanced wrong.
I don't know. She was far more upset after the program than he. I mean, he was upset, but she was
much. So maybe she got the body. And
although Madison Hubble was very upset too. That was also heartbreaking. Nationals tears are like nothing else, honey, when they are backstage.
Nightstands, yeah. And the last Shibutani lift almost derailed too. It looked like he was like giving her the Heimlich at the end. You know what I mean? Like something happened, and I can't quite tell what happened, but it came undone for them pretty quickly. But
to me, I think the Shibutanis are going to have a hard time competing against Virtue and Moir at Four Continents because I think that Virtue and Moir are just skating with such freedom now, and their technique looks more comfortable for them, especially on the twizzles and
the freedom is something that that Virtue and Moir have that still eludes the French in competition.
Mm-hmm.
Is that abandon? They've got a better command of that.
Yeah.
So I wonder if Worlds will kind of. It'll be interesting to see what happens at Europeans this weekend. But
yeah, I'm ready for it.
This is their probably easiest competition is Europeans. So yeah, I see Virtue and Moir more and more cementing that world title. But
yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But what did you make of the pair event? Because this was interesting because Julianne and Charlie pulled out of the competition.
Yeah.
And so it was really like, Kirsten and Michael have been wanting to make a move in Canada, and they were looking very strong this summer before her concussion that took them out for months and months and months, and she had to do all sorts of rehab and training of her brain, and it was very, very serious. Them competing, Luba popped the jump in the short, and they still finished ahead of a relatively clean Kirsten and Michael, and this was a very controversial result.
Look at my notes, which are... Because Luba and Dylan in the free program, in the free skate program, they earned a total of 3.13 points for all of their jumping passes.
But this was my favorite Canadian commentator moment, was that they found a way to spin how awful they are at jumps. So they now say Luba and Dylan have really showed promise artistically. Like, that is the way...
Wonderful program minus a few bobbles, which was like no one landing a jump. I mean, it was like...
The Canadians have found a way to be like, she can't land anything, and he is struggling with this too. To be like, Jonathan, Jenny and Todd are... well received artistically. That is...
It's classical music. Yeah, okay.
Both Tracy and Rod said it. Tracy gets in it a little bit. She gets into the Canadianness of it all.
Yeah. She should be the limit, though. It shouldn't go past what she does. But,
yes.
I mean, I felt bad for Kristen. I mean, this is a tough one. Kirsten, sorry.
She's one that you don't mess up her name.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Alexa, yeah.
But it's difficult.
She's never looked better. First of all, she's in amazing shape.
Yeah, but the PCS they were never going to give it.
So here's why.
Very clear.
It's because Sandra Bezic is a genius, and she's really good at taking a skater like a Tara or a Brian Boitano, who are not artists, giving them a rather generic piece of music that Jonathan Byer will hate, and the audience will respond to, like Josh Groban, and she really makes the most out of a team that doesn't really have chemistry, that don't really look phenomenal together, but what they do is Luba has such virtuosic positions, and he's very strong.
She hits a pretty picture.
She looks like heaven in a lift that I'm going to give them +2, +3. She flies on a throw. And Kirsten and Michael, the only thing I can say is, if you have to explain why it's different, is that Luba and Dylan have a little bit more speed. At least it comes across.
The twist much better.
The twist is better. The lift positions. Because Kirsten's not going to compete in the yoga championships after this, like Luba is. She's losing points there. Their throws are not the strongest. They're very consistent. I think that they need to find, and I think that with Julie has clearly this vision for this team that they're kind of like a Canadian contemporary rock, like soft, like light FM kind of like team going on here.
Able to win anything is that.
And the judges don't seem to respond to it. You know, I know what she's doing. She sees this thing in the team. They're like a laid back style, but Kirsten's a firecracker. And I think that they need to go, like Ashley Wagner likes to do Diamonds Are Forever. They need a bam look.
Has Shaylin done a Paris program? Maybe
they go to Julie Marcotte, but I think that they need to work with someone. I think that Julie can work with them on their skating, and she's wonderful at like skating skills and things like that. But I think they need to change something. If this is how she views them, they need a journey program, a BAM. They need a new energy. I get that they're making them more romantic. I like some of the aspects of how they're bringing out a different side to Kirsten, but they need another pair of eyes to at least collaborate with Julie on this.
They need an angle because they have not found
the angle that they're doing. The judges are not responding to. You know, like because they're that solid team. They're gonna, but here they didn't hit the new element, the double axel, half loop, triple sow, and that issue on the other dripping pass as well.
It would have helped big.
Yeah. But, they need more out. They know they need more mileage. They haven't had mileage at all this season, so Four Continents will help. But you know, I think going forward, this is a team that I don't think is going to peak for the Olympics. I think that if, you know, she initially said she wanted to do 2 more Olympics, and I think that they have, this is, what does Ty say? It takes 5 years for a pair to gel. I mean, they're going to take some time, this team. It's not coming together as quickly as she did with Dylan, I feel.
Yeah, well, and the Dylan and Luba thing, they came together quickly, but I don't see her jumps ever resolving.
No. So they need to keep being artistic, and she needs to keep looking like heaven in lifts, and hope that the ISU doesn't allow people to do 3 jumping passes, because
they're toast. Yeah.
I mean, until the judges start viewing them as the team that can't land jumps, and then their components take a hit. The Canadian judges have not made the decision that this is a team that can't jump.
Right.
When they do, their components will come down, because they will say that this is a dead end.
I think Juliana and Charlie are still solid number 2. I so much enjoy them more than both of those teams. And right before Grand Prix, they did, what do they call those? Not sectional.
It's their challenger, right? It's
okay.
So what they do is, it's basically a mini nationals for the teams, like a warm up, and then so it's not, they don't have the
Grand Prix final. That seems so counterintuitive for a team that did great there and then struggled at the Grand Prix final, maybe as a result.
Maybe, I don't know why they did both, and I don't know if they were exhausted or what, but it was interesting that happened, because they were so great there. Yeah,
it was a shame, and there was like a
peaking. They've been very great in North America this year, but not outside of it, which was strange.
And what was the injury that they're out for?
A concussion. So.
And
so Kirsten and Michael, you know, they might wind up going to Worlds if these concussions are very serious. So, you know, this is...
And it'd be the second Worlds they withdrew from.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're going to do everything in their power. But, yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen there. That's not great for them. But also, we have to give a shout-out to... So, Marie France has this younger team. It's Liam Ferris's younger brother.
Oh, I was sad Liam didn't do better here in the men's.
Yes. Okay. He still has an ankle injury from Skate Canada. So it's his brother with like a short Willette. I mean, she looks like a short version of Natalie Pechalot. And they skate together in the ice dance, and they're very new and very successful. So we have to give a shout out to them. But yes, I mean, wonderfulness. But yes, what was your MK moment of the Canadian Tire Figure Skating Championship?
Your gal. We didn't even talk about Megan and Eric.
Oh my goodness. I am just rushing ahead. Jonathan, you get me too excited. What did you think about Megan Duhamel and Eric Radford?
Smart move with the throw lots, eh?
Yes, eh?
Yeah, that's for I thought that was a nice choice. I'm curious if they will try to rework the triple axel for Worlds.
I think it's out.
I think it's out too. But do you think
because they don't get the points? They got 7.9 points at nationals, and they only got 8.2 at Skate Canada. There was an article about the points, and they've worked out the points, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree, and I enjoyed that they did their triplets double toes.
Yes, that seems to help her mentally with that combo.
Makes me think of the 94 ladies short.
Yes, I thought about that. I was like, oh my god, they're both Nancy Kerrigan,
and the triple sows.
So the triple sow is the best change in the history of ever, because I didn't realize how much I hated their toes, or was afraid to say this, but her leg wrap on the triple toe, and the fact that they always did it from straight down the ice. Right after they do the long entrance into the Lutzes, they had this really long entrance setting up the toes really straight down the line, and it made the transitions of their program look so weak. And I think that the fact that now they're doing it on a curve, it just changes up the program from them, because we have seen Megan and Eric do their technical arsenal, and a change is as good as a rest. And I think that it just changes them up a bit. And I think
it looked nice. I enjoyed seeing them, and I thought the twist here was some of the nicest twists they've done.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For as technical, or for as strong as they are, the twist doesn't always match their abilities that they have elsewhere. But here I thought it was much higher than I'm used to.
I think whatever's been going on with them the last couple of, weeks, months, I felt like they're coming up the storm. I felt oddly since the World Championships that in many of the disciplines, the veteran teams that are not making a comeback, say, have just looked a little bit sluggish, a little bit burnt out, a little bit like they're a little bit waiting on some level to ramp up because this is now the final push to the Olympics. I feel like once we got to 2017, now people are starting to kick it into gear, where this fall, I felt like the Grand Prix was one of the longest, terriblest series of competitions that we had to witness.
In a way, it almost felt like a post-Olympic year versus a pre-Olympic year.
It was like a post-North American Worlds, where, especially for the North American skaters, where it just felt like everyone seemed really off their game. And I felt like the skating had, at both nationals, I felt in many respects that there was a new life and freshness to it.
Yeah, it felt good. Yeah, whatever was plaguing her at the Grand Prix final seems to be behind her now, and the energy seems to be channeled in the right way. So, which is lovely to see.
Oh, Rod Black, you are so wonderful.
Everyone was the best. Everyone will win the gold at the Olympics.
Go Canada.
Yeah.
So what was your MK moment of the Canadian? I know, Rod Black, that it's hard to pick just one.
I know. I'm going to say Caitlin's short program was pretty on fire, but but Patrick's long, seeing him really just do a really solid long that was so lovely throughout, and with those big axles that didn't make me nervous. I wasn't nervous during his long, and I was able to really enjoy it, so I'm going to go with that.
I would have gone with Virtue and Moir, but I was very upset that Marie-France was taken from us and had to go to Canadian Nationals. I think that I don't think there was any danger.
Yeah, they were fine. Yeah.
We needed her glamour in the U.S.
That's right.
I think that she would have really classed up the joint a bit. I mean, Patrice is very good looking.
Right up off the ice.
Yes, she would have picked Gracie's jacket up so well. Okay. Right. Poor Hubble and Donahue. Oh, it was so sad.
So sad. And Piper and Paul. I wanted Piper and Paul to be second also.
I mean, look, this is just... It was such a...
I think it's devastating.
All the Nationals feels.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frank. It was really just, quite a weekend. Avoid Phil Hirsch like the plague. Yes. Oh, man.
They needed your questions. They needed your questions in the press conferences at Canadian Nationals.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was thinking about going next year. I want to hit up both of them. Let's do it.
So just travel back and forth over
I think it's possible with the scheduling next year to at least get there for the weekend.
Because Nationals for the United States next year is on New Year's Eve or something like... And Skate America will no longer be...
I know, it's going to be over Thanksgiving. I know. I was thinking, Jonathan, we can hit up Skate Canada, Skate America. I don't like eating all that turkey anyway. It just makes you fat and bloated, No.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you
All
have
right.
to take a nap. I would much rather nap during the first
We're
group of
gonna
the
road trip.
ladies.
Take a couple of lean cuisines, and we're going to road trip for every Grand Prix around that.
Yes, we can go to Skate Canada. We'll go to Skate America, eat our turkey, nap during the first group of the ladies long. We'll
Do Christmas, and then go straight to Nationals.
straight to both nationals. All right, let's do it. Okay, we got to meet Rod Black. I mean, he is our everything. You know,
He's going to think we're great.
he will. He will think we're the best talk show hosts in the history of ever. You know, yes. Well, my MK moment was Patrick Chan's free skate because Marie France, abandoned us. I'm sorry, Tessa and Scott. I adore your programs, but
But we always adore their programs. Like, we always know they're going to be great.
I know. But
Patrick,
did you notice that Marie France was stroking Scott's leg in the picture in the Kiss and Cry? She always is very handsy with whatever guy is getting her title.
and you know what? More power to her.
Yes. Yes. Well, as always, we want to remind you to hold an edge, be the best you can be, Canada, and look sexy. Bye, guys.